First, let me introduce myself and my family. Foremost of all there is my mother, Jean Brock, aged 34, and a very hardworking woman. She is the head of the family now, as my father went off with one of the much younger girls in his office. She was 22. That was about 6 years ago. I have utter contempt for him, because he left my mother in debt and heartbroken. Also, I have 2 older sisters, Mary, who is 14 and Anne, 15. To help our mom out, our mom had a word with one of my aunts, Aunt Jenny, who was also a very close friend and confidant to her. She was 42 years old and had a lovely disposition. I mean by that, she was single, her husband had passed away suddenly 6 years ago, and she was very good at getting things organized. She and Mom decided that Aunt Jenny should move in with us to help us out. Our mom went out to work full-time at a clothing shop in the mall to keep us all and pay off what debts my father had gained. Aunt Jenny had never remarried after her husband's death, and she seemed to be just wasting away with nothing to occupy her or interest her anymore. They never had children, so there was nothing to keep her going. Everything became a chore to her. Until Mom came up with this suggestion to join our family. They decided Aunt Jenny would do everything in our home, cooking, cleaning, keeping us in check, and her word would be law when our mom wasn't there. Both of the girls still live at home, of course, and share a bedroom next to mine. Then there is me. My name is Jonathan. I am 14 as well at the moment. This is because there is just under a year between Julie and myself, which makes people very confused as people think we are twins, and I must say we do both look a lot alike. Well, things were going very well. Everybody was getting on, and we were sharing the housework, under Auntie's supervision of course. But there was a hidden problem coming on to us on the horizon. Not only for me, and the effects would radiate out from the center. Ever since I was very small, I can remember that I had always loved the feeling of girls' clothes, and wishing I could wear them too. I have never been a macho boy. I have never liked football much. In fact, I have never really liked any type of outdoor or physical games, but that's neither here nor there. I would watch the girls play their games and wished I could join in, but of course, boys didn't do that type of thing. It was my closely guarded secret that no one would ever know about. As I went through senior high school, after I had got home in the evening, had tea, etc., I would often go to bed quite early, about 8 p.m. I would always say I was tired, or I just wanted to be quiet, or even catch up on some homework. After a while, everybody was so used to it. There was no surprise from anybody when I went to bed early. I always had a good reason to tell them. Of course, there was an underlying reason. I had managed to acquire over several months a bra, a pair of frilly panties, a pair of thin tights and a petticoat. These all came from my sister's room, as we were nearly all the same size and build. It was no problem in finding the things I wanted to fit me, so this was my secret. I would go to bed early, and get dressed up, knowing that everybody was downstairs. This gave me an extra thrill as I knew that I might be caught. As I look back, I think that I was really hoping that I would be caught, then I could explain to them how I felt, and everything would work out well. The silliness of youth. Well, it was one Friday night, and I wanted to go to bed quite early. Mom and Jenny said it was all right, as I told them that I had a couple of hard lessons in PE. They smiled, and both kissed me goodnight. And off I trundled. Aunt Jenny called our mom into another room and shut the door. She asked our mom to sit down. She began. Well, I'm not sure how to say this to you, Jean. She shifted her weight onto her other foot and wrung her hands. This is so difficult for me, Jean, but please do not get upset when I tell you. By now Mom was working herself up into a worried frenzy. "Oh, for goodness sake, Jenny, just spit it out before I go mad." "Well, it's Jonathan," she began. "I think he is borrowing his sister's clothes, including their underwear, and I think he wears them when he goes to bed early." Mom responded by saying, "What on earth makes you think that, Jenny?" Jenny looked slightly nervous and said, "For a little while now, the girls have had some of their clothes and underwear go missing, only to reappear several days later, either put in the washing tub or put back in their drawers. And said that some of her clothes smelled odd, not their normal fresh smell, just like if someone had worn them and had a touch of BO. Jean, Mum, sat down and poured Jenny and herself a drink. "And you really think it's Jonathan?" she said. "Well, it's not the girls, it's not me or you, that only leaves," she said. "So, when do you think he does this then?" said Mum. "I think it's when he goes to bed early. I'm not sure, but he does go to bed early quite a lot, and we never hear from him until the next morning." Mum paused in thought. Then she said, "Right, I will tell you what we will do. We will give him half an hour tonight, then I will go upstairs to his bedroom, knock the door and go straight in. If anything is amiss, I will call you upstairs. If I don't call you, there is nothing is out of the ordinary. How does that sound to you, Jenny?" Jenny said, "Well, that would put things to bed, one way or another. If there is nothing going on, just make an excuse, like you wanted to ask him something, then no one will be embarrassed." When I had gone to bed early, as usual now, and after making sure everyone was downstairs, and not wanting me for the rest of the night, I changed into my pink bra, pink lacy panties, my almost shirt tights, and my white frilly full petticoat that I had borrowed the other day from Mary's room. It was making me feel wonderful wearing these girly clothes. 20 minutes later, I was almost away with the fairies, when I heard a creak on the stairs. That was my early warning system, the creaking stairs. Not wanting to be found wearing some of my sister's clothes, I jumped into bed and pulled the bedclothes right up around my chin. Then I started to sweat as the door slowly opened. I pretended to be just nodding off. I saw it was Mum. She said she had popped in to make sure I was all right. I saw her looking at me with a furrowed brow, but with a touch of a smile on her face. Then she said, "Is everything all right, Jonathan? You look a bit flushed. You haven't got a temperature, have you? Let me feel your forehead." I quickly smiled back and said, "No, Mum," as I smiled back, now feeling more confident, saying, "Mum, everything is fine. I'm just a bit hot, that's all." "Why do you ask?" "Well, it must be hot under the bedclothes, wearing all those girly things you were wearing as well, I suppose." I just went bright red and tried to pull the covers up even more to cover everything up. "Well, it must be. As I can see, you are wearing a very pretty pink bra. I can see the pink straps on your shoulders." My face went bright red again as she said to me, "Now pull the bedclothes all the way down and let's see what else you are wearing, Missy." Without a murmur I pulled them right down, showing my pink frilly bra, which I had padded out to look as if I had breasts, my pink and white frilly panties, my shirt tights, and my white frilly petticoat. She just looked at me, letting her eyes rove all over my body and clothes. There was no expression on her face at all. It was totally blank. Then she called for my auntie to come up. I started to pull the bedclothes back up when Mum said sharply, "No, leave them down. I want your auntie to see what you're wearing." As she came into the room, Auntie looked at me, then what I was wearing and went quite pale. Then she said to me, "Jonathan, why are you wearing all of these girls' clothes, and I see you have even padded your bra out as well. And where did you get them from? You're not gay, are you?" I sat up in bed sobbing and said, "No, I'm not gay. I just like wearing girls' clothes, that's all." I then broke my heart to them both, promising that I would never do it again, and continuing to say sorry every second word. Mom and Auntie looked at me and Mom said, "We will discuss this tomorrow, and by the way, are those you sisters' clothes, and have you any more of their clothes hidden away anywhere?" Sobbing, I said, "No, Mom." As they left, Mom turned around to me and said, "If you like wearing them so much, you can take off the tights and petticoat, but you can leave the panties and bra on." Then she reappeared with a long nightdress saying, "You can wear this tonight as well, then you can feel like a real girl. We will decide on what to do with you in the morning." They then both left. I could hear them talking as they went down the stairs. I think I slept for about an hour that night. I was terrified what was going to happen to me in the morning. I was woken up at about 9:00 that morning, as it was a Saturday, by Aunt Jenny. She said to me, "Just put a dressing gown on over your night clothes and come downstairs. We need to talk about this episode of last night." I started to protest by saying, "I can't, Auntie. The girls will be there." She assured me that it was only her and my mom down there. The girls had gone out for the day. I slowly made my way downstairs behind Auntie. As we went into the sitting room, Mother was sitting on the sofa and was joined by Auntie. I had to sit in the chair facing them. I had gone bright red again, as the dressing gown opened up a little, showing my pink bra and my nightie. There were tears in my eyes. I felt so ashamed to have them see me like this. "Right," said Mom, "now what's been going on, and tell me the truth? I want to hear all of it." I had tears in my eyes, and I looked at her straight in the face, and lied. I said, "Mom, Auntie, this has been the only time that I have dressed up. I just wanted to know what it felt like to be dressed in girls' clothes, that was all. It was only that once. I promise I will never do it again. I promise." I was still crying at that point. Mom called me over and I sat between them on the sofa as they both gave me a great big hug saying, "It's now all forgotten. Take the clothes off and put them in the washing bin and we will say no more about it, and if you're worrying about the girls, they know nothing about it, okay, sweetie?" I said, "Thank you, Mom, and thank you, Auntie. I will never do it again. I promise." They smiled and said to me, "It was probably a phase you were going through, but not let's talk about it anymore. Now off you go to bed, and we will leave it at that." I did as they asked and went to my room. As I was lying in my bed, I thought to myself, I didn't mean to lie. I was just so scared of what they may have thought of me, but it's all over now, I can relax. It was about 6 weeks later. Nothing more had been said by anyone about the episode when the old feelings started to rise again. I kept looking at how my sisters were dressed and how envious I was of them. I started discreetly looking in ladies' shop windows at the dresses and shoes and underwear, wishing that I would love to wear all of those clothes in that shop. I imagined what I would look and feel like wearing them. But I still did nothing. That was until the following Saturday night. All day I could not get the idea of dressing as a girl out of my mind. I just so wanted to feel the tightness of the bra and the smoothness of the panties and tights on my legs again, the shape the clothes gave me. It was becoming unbearable for me as I saw all the girls every day, and I always noticed what they were wearing, especially if they were going out to a party. All I could do was sigh with envy. It was a week later that Mom said that she and Aunt Jenny were going out shopping and the girls were going to the mall. What would I like to do? I couldn't say what I really wanted to do, or I would have been strung up by the yardarm. So, I lied again. It seemed to be much easier to lie now. I said, I will go around Peter's, and we would watch some films on their massive widescreen TV. Smiling at her, Mom said, that will be all right, but be back before 5 as tea will be ready. I smiled again and said, yes, Mom. I knew that everybody was going out on the Saturday. The girls were with their friends for the day, and Mom and Auntie were out shopping. It was a chance that I could not miss. I convinced myself that I would only dress this once, and then no more. I couldn't resist it any longer. As soon as they had all gone, I gave it another half an hour, then I went into my sister's bedroom and went through her drawers carefully. I got out her matching bra and panties, the pink ones that I really loved, then a pair of her sheer tights and a white petticoat, the sheer joy of putting them on, the feeling as I pulled my tights up and felt the petticoat rub against my legs. I was in heaven. I went to her wardrobe and took out a light blue dress, and proceeded to slip it on. It fitted me like a glove. I even found an old pair of shoes with a small heel and slipped them on. As I was putting on each item, the sheer pleasure I got was immense. I felt so relieved, so relaxed. It was unbelievable. I looked into the full-length mirror, and all I saw was a young, pretty girl. I walked around the rooms using all the feminine gestures that I knew. It felt so good to be free again. I don't know how long I was dressed before I heard the front door. Did I panic? You bet I did. I grabbed my clothes off the floor. Lucky enough, I was upstairs in my sister's room and ran into the bathroom, locking the door. I quickly turned on the shower taps, stripping off my sister's clothes as fast as I could. Suddenly, there was a knock at the door. It was my mom. I started to shake with fear again. She asked, Jonathan, how long are you going to be in there? I shouted back, I've been in the shed and got so dirty in there that I decided to have a shower. Okay, she said, don't be long though as we all need the loo. I shouted back, I'll be about 10 minutes, okay? Don't be any longer, otherwise we will have to come in and pee even if you're still in the shower. I laughed. What was I going to do? Panic started to set in again. I got under the shower quickly and got myself wet, then I had a brainwave. It was then I remembered that the front panel on the bath was loose, so I got out of the shower, wrapped a towel around me. Quickly but quietly, I prized the corner of the panel open, as there was a small crack in the corner of the panel itself. I rolled my sister's clothes up and pushed them in under the bath and then pushed the panel back in its place. With a sigh of relief, I shouted out, I've finished now, I'm just drying myself off. I'll be about another 5 minutes. I got a simultaneous reply back, good. I quickly got dressed and opened the door, and there was a rush from them to get in. Later I thought how lucky I was. I could replace the clothes later on and no one would be any the wiser. Joke. It was about 4 weeks later after I had taken the clothes out from behind the bath panel, dusted them off and returned them to their places in my sister's room. That was, of course, after trying them on a couple more times, and feeling really happy and smug about no one knowing about it, as it was always forgotten, they said. So, I just went about as if nothing had ever happened. Then on the Sunday morning about 4 weeks later, Mom called me into the lounge. As I went in, I saw my 2 sisters there and my Aunt Jenny. Mom told me to sit down, as she had something very important to tell me. I wasn't worried at this point because, as far as I knew, no one suspected anything. And Mom would have spoken to me by herself or with Aunt Jenny present if they had suspected anything, so why worry? She began by saying that she had explained to the girls about what I had been doing, and that I had been dressing up in their clothes. First, my face went as white as a sheet, then I went bright red and started to shake. All I kept hearing was, "I've told the girls. You are wearing their clothes." She continued, "I have also read up on why I think you have been doing it. I have known for some time you have been doing this because the girls have told me that things had gone missing, then reappearing again, and things had not been folded right and more. So, I gathered that it wasn't the first time you had dressed up when we caught you before. Am I correct? Jenny and I read more about why you are dressing up in girls' clothes from the books we got from the library. As we read more about it, we suddenly realized that the books were describing you down to a T. Your mannerisms and your whole attitude to looking at girls' clothes, you were acting more like a girl sometimes than a boy. Even your features are more girlish than a boy's." At this point, I started to cry. Both Mom and Auntie said to me, "Don't worry, Jonathan, we are not ashamed or worried about you in any way, and we, that includes the girls, don't blame you for acting like this. Or for the things that you can't control." Aunt Jenny said, "We have explained everything to the girls, and they understand, and they are with you all the way." All the girls came over and gave me a great big hug. Saying, "We understand," Mums explained everything to us. She also gave us some books to read about it. Mom said, "We have read that all of this is in the makeup of your body and brain. It is called being in the wrong body, or in your case, you feel that you are a girl trapped in a boy's body. So, you are thinking like a girl would. Like wearing the proper clothes you think you should be wearing, a dress or blouse or stockings, things girls normally wear." I started to say that this was not the case. I just liked dressing up in girls' clothes. But I didn't get as far as that before they started to explain what was going on with me in detail. Or that is what they surmised and convinced themselves of. Books can be dangerous. They had it all worked out. They told me what they had read in their books and what I was, and that deep down it was because I really wanted to be the girl I thought I was. They said, "If you really want to be a girl, that would be no problem for any of us. We have explained it all to the girls, and they have accepted it with no problem." They also said that it would be really nice to have another sister. I looked at them all, and they seemed really pleased. They were all smiling at me as if I had won a star prize. I just looked at them all. I did not know what to say. I didn't want to be a girl, but it would just not come out from my mouth. I just stood there, tears running down my face. Of course, they thought it was tears of happiness of being found out and accepted. Not of terror, which it really was. After I had dried my eyes and Mom and Auntie and my sisters had all hugged me, telling me how brave I was, and that they would love to have me as a new sister. Mom continued, she said, what the next step will be, and that was from now on, when I was at home, I would be dressed and referred to as just another one of her daughters. I gulped. Also, that tomorrow her and Auntie were going out shopping to buy me my own set of clothes, that was undies, dresses, skirts, tights, blouses, etc., so that I didn't have to wear any of my sister's clothes, and since the summer holidays were coming up in a week or so, I would be able to stay dressed as a girl full-time, even going out with them like it. The girls said, "We will show you how to do your makeup and different styles you can do with your hair. It's going to be such fun helping you." She would also make an appointment at the doctor's to see about hormone injections for me, so that I would progress more like the other girls and become more feminine, with my shape and figure. The girls said, "Just think, we can go shopping together, have our hair and nails done together. In fact, we can do that Tuesday. then you can start really feeling like a girl and we can do all our girly things together from now on. But we can't keep calling you Jonathan, can we? That's not really a girl's name, is it? And said to Mum, "Can you let us decide on what we should call our new sister? Something nice and pretty, I think." The girls and Mum and Auntie went into a huddle as I just stood there unable to say or think of what to say to them. I was in total shock. I had enjoyed dressing up, but I have never wanted to be a full-time girl. What was happening to me, or what was going to happen to me? Then they turned to me and said, "We are going to call you Rose Marie Brock. It's such a pretty girl's name. What do you think? Do you like your new name, Rose?" All I could do was nod with a forced big smile on my face. Again, they all looked at me to see whether I was pleased with all they were going to do for me. Mum and Auntie said it was going to be wonderful to have another girl in the house, and the girls were really looking forward to having another sister. They were all so pleased for me. All I could say between teary eyes were, "Thank you all. You have really made me so happy." The girls came over and cuddled me and said, "Don't worry, Rose, we'll look after you." Then they gave me a kiss on the cheeks. I mean, what choice did I have? Tell them the truth, and break their hearts, or run away and join the Foreign Legion? What a choice, then I thought. If I could carry this on for a little while, I could then say that I didn't feel right, so I'm not going to go through with it. Clever boy. I had to get some air after this revelation of theirs. So I asked if I could go out for a walk, alone, because I was so overwhelmed with it all. Mom said, "Of course you can, my sweet. It must be such a weight lifted off your shoulders." When I came back after about 4 hours, I went up to my room to see that it had been changed around and posters and things had been put on the wall. It now looked a lot girlier, as befitting for a girl. Mom had even put a pretty nightdress and panties on the bed for me. It was now 2 weeks later. All my boy clothes had been replaced by girls' things, panties, training bras, petticoats, skirts, dresses, shoes, and even makeup. I had been taken to the hairdressers where my hair was styled and cut into a girl's style, and my toenails and fingernails had been filed, and given a coat of pink high-gloss nail polish. Then they had been given a coat of clear varnish so they wouldn't chip. I looked every inch a girl, I even smelt like a girl. I could not be mistaken for a boy at all now, especially with my hairstyle I had. I even found that I was starting to act more and more like a girl every day. My mannerisms started to change. But when you are surrounded by 3 girls and you are dressed as a 4th, you cannot help but to copy how they speak or use their hands, in fact everything that is normal to a girl. I was being overwhelmed by everything feminine. And I was starting to lose myself in it. It got to the point where, to be honest, I loved being one of the girls, being dressed as a girl, even going out as a girl. It was a dream come true. But there was one problem: I was now dressing and living as a girl 24/7. I couldn't even slip on a t-shirt as my bra showed through, but I never said those magic words to end this. Like, "I have changed my mind," or "I don't want to do this anymore." I just carried on doing and accepting everything. After a month, I went to the doctors with my mom and auntie, and they explained everything to her. They exaggerated on quite a few things, like I asked to dress as a girl, then asked if I could become one, and cried when I couldn't wear a dress and bra. Needless to say, I was dressed totally as a young girl with all the mannerisms that go with it. The doctor said that since I had been dressing for so long now, she decided to start giving my hormone shots straight away to stop my puberty in its tracks, and to help my female hormones take their rightful place in me. They were so pleased that the doctor agreed to give me hormones. In fact, she placed a bar in my arm which she said would slowly release the hormones and it would last 2 months, so that I didn't even have to take pills now. But to hurry things along, she was going to give me weekly injections in my breasts, or what would be my breasts and my bum cheeks, to help redistribute my fatty tissues, so that I could catch up with the other girls in their growing maturity. It took about a month before I had little itchy buds on my chest. I was getting so distraught about being turned into a girl that I kept crying. Mom said it was because I was going through a change and my hormones would be all over the place for a little while. I was now dressing as a girl full-time, inside and outside the house. The girls even took me to the mall to show me the boys hanging out there, asking which type I fancied. We had girly nights in, painting each other's nails and toes, watching chick flicks, which for some reason I enjoyed watching. They taught me about makeup, combining different colored clothes. They even changed in front of me, saying, "Well, we're all girls here, aren't we?" Within 3 months, I started to show signs of small breasts. My hips were becoming wider. I was now totally passable as a girl, even in a bikini. My fears, if I really had any, had passed, and my life was not all that bad. I seemed to have calmed down a lot. I enjoyed my sister's company. I started to look forward to going out shopping, having my hair and nails done. There were so many small things that were happening to me without me noticing. I was becoming more self-conscious on what I was wearing. Did it match? Did my lipstick match my clothes? I noticed what other girls were wearing, thinking if it would suit me. At school it had been explained to everyone what was happening to me, and what I was going through. That I was transitioning from a boy to a girl. Most of the girls had no problem at all. Of course, some hated me, and took every opportunity to knock me down, but my sisters were always there for me. I will admit, at first the thought of me becoming a full-time girl horrified me, especially at school, but now I realize that in fact it was what I always deeply down wanted, even if I didn't know it at the time. I have so many friends now, boys and girls. It's amazing. And I get to wear all the clothes I fantasized about, with no one caring. I got tips from the girls about which makeup suited me, what hairstyles I should go for. If I had any trouble from the boys, there suddenly appeared a row of girls standing in front of me. I thought, that's girl power. I now have been living as a full-time girl for 2 years now, and I think of myself as a girl. And I am waiting for a date for the operation to make me a complete girl in every way. I even have a boyfriend who knows all about me and can't wait for me to fulfill my dreams, as he said. I think it's a bit more than that. I mean, you know what boys are like, don't you? My sisters were always there for me, come hell or high water. We were true sisters now, in every way. I look forward now to womanhood, with the help of all my family. I might even think of marriage someday, but not for the next 5 years, as I have a lot of things to do to catch up on being a girl.